Oh, hello and welcome to another game of Idiot versus Insider. I'm the Idiot. This is the Insider, and we are here to predict and preview the Week 11 NFL gambling slate. Mr. James broke his schneid against me every single week. James presents a slate of games for us to pick based off of the week of the upcoming NFL schedule. I have a force bet. I can either agree with him, disagree with him, or pivot on this game. It is a force bet. I have to bet on it. And through those parameters, I had an 8-game win streak against you.
Absolute domination.
Domination through the first half of the season. But James took me out last week. So congratulations. Thank you for joining us here on the Casting Couch live
coming
in
back.
person.
Next 10 weeks, I'm winning all next 10, and we're finishing the season up.
We're gonna have a close matchup. Our bad news, lock of the week, lost
By a half point, though.
by a half a point. If you would have told me Zadarius Smith not playing, it was the Lions minus 3.5 on Monday night. Sunday night. If you would have told me Zadarius Smith wasn't playing, if you'd have told me Jared Goff throws 5 interceptions in that game, and you asked me, do you still like it at 3.5? I'm like, probably not.
Still almost at it.
Can you give me 2.5? I would have said, like, hell yeah, give me 2.5. Give me 2.5. I think the Lions.
Did you grab it live? At halftime? I threw a little bit on there.
Congratulations.
I was like YOLO.
Congratulations
plus
to you.
325.
My dad during that game. So Lions. I'm a Lions fan, right? So my dad. Yeah. Oh yeah. Breaking news.
I don't
here
think anybody's known this
on the podcast. My phone was dead, so I just like left it unplugged. I was actually out in the backyard, had a fire going. We had the in-laws in town. They're trying to sleep, and I was trying not to yell, and I was like keeping myself a little bit segmented outside. My phone was dead. We win. I open up my phone. I have like 8 texts from my dad, and I see him go through all of the stages of Lions fandom. He's like, "Big game, can't wait." And then he's like, no response to any of this because my phone's dead. And he's like, "Oh, bad start." He's like, "Oh, sinking ship." He's like, "Oh, it might be an early night for me." And he's like, "That's it. I'm out at like 8:30.
Oh, no.
And I text him at the end of the game, I'm like, "Never a doubt, right?" He's like, "What the?"
He's like one of those guys that leaves like one of the greatest comebacks ever. And he leaves the stadium and then he gets in the car, turns on the radio, and he goes, "Oh,
Detroit Tigers." I think this was my mom's fault. I don't like bringing it up because whenever I bring it up, I can tell it's a sore subject in our family. Went to a Detroit Tigers game. We never went to any Lions games, but Tigers tickets, cheap. Yeah. So we would go to the Tigers game, and we went this one night. It was like close to playoff baseball. It was like late in the season when the Tigers were good, and they were losing by like 3 going into like the 8th inning. And my mom's like, "Hey, let's get the hell out of here. School night. Let's go home. Let's go to bed." And we leave, and we can literally hear as we're driving away from Comerica Park, a baseball just crack, and the whole stadium erupt. Walk-off home run, bottom of the 9th. We missed it.
Oh.
So now that was my only opportunity to ever see a walk-off home run, and I missed it.
You broke the baseball rule.
Yeah, I did bring baseball up, but it is Detroit sports, so I think that is entirely fair. So I am still 8-2 against you in our matchups in Idiot versus Insider so far this season. James, you continue to make us bet on Thursday night. We both lose in different fashions.
That was incredible.
On Thursday night, I had a side. You had an over or an under, or maybe the other way around.
I had the under.
We both lose. We both lose. So fade us on Thursday night. Guess what? James has us picking another one.
You're welcome.
I can't stand that. I have nothing. I can't say no. That's the part of the rules of the podcast that we set at the beginning of the year. So
immediately wants to change these rules.
Oh yeah,
I got multiple texts about.
I'm already negotiating for next year. Like, hey, I'm gonna blackball you. I'm gonna have like one blackball. Like you're banned. Good news. I'm still 7-3 in winning weeks against the sports books. No big deal. I'm absolutely crushing. Especially if you're not following me on Thursday night. I think I'm hitting at like a 65-70% rate if you just don't bet with me on Thursday night. It's going pretty well. So
only bet the Sundays late.
So I did have my 3rd losing week of the season, breaking my hot streak. I think it was like 5 weeks in a row against the sports books and winning weeks. So I'm pretty hot over here. Review. So whenever you have a losing week, you got to go back to like, did I have the wrong side? What can I learn from my performance last week? So I'm reviewing this not as an excuse, even though it is an excuse. I'm going to have a lot of excuses for why I lost last week. But just to say, like, hey, you have to change things up. Giants unable to do their part against one of the worst defenses in the league last week. I had the over in that game. Graham Gano missed a field goal and 2 bad interceptions on the plus side of the football field for Daniel Jones in that game. So unable to cover the corner and cover the over. And then they force overtime. I'm like, oh, I'm going to steal this one. They're going to get a touchdown. It's going to go over.
What did I text you? I texted you, I've won, but you can still win too.
Tyrone Tracy. Yeah, you had Panthers at plus 5.5. It was like you
7. I had 7.
7. Yeah,
I was good to go.
Go back to bed.
I was like, thank you very much.
It's over. Yeah. And sure enough, first play of the drive, Tyrone Tracy fumbles. And then
that was crazy.
They try to score. They go 3 back-to-back runs. Don't get anything going. Kick the field goal. Game over. You had a bad beat this week. You had Jags money line when we fully thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to be totally fine. Now it sounds like he's like out for the season. So
Mac Jones time.
It is Mac Jones time. Played all right. So
I don't know about all right.
Maybe not the worst beat in the world.
He had two drives where he could have won the game.
Yeah.
And both times he threw a pick.
Well,
I turned that game off because I thought it was over. Went in the car to go run errands with Lana and turned on the radio. And literally as we turn on the radio, I'm like, oh, the Jags got the ball again. Oh my God, is this going to hit? And then he immediately threw a pick again. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. It's just like one of those weeks for us. That's why we celebrate when we're lucky. We celebrate because when we're unlucky, it still hurts even though you were on the right side.
It's funny.
49ers. I had the over in that game. I had the Niners in that game. Jake Moody goes 3 for 6 on field goals. Baker Mayfield covers. So what are you going to do? I definitely had the right side there, but when a field goal kicker leaves 9 points on the board, you're not always going to cover. And then Lions, of course, like we already mentioned, no Zadarius Smith got off those 5 interceptions. We don't get our 3.5 cover, even though we deserved it. But that's gambling, baby. Not changing anything. The whole point of this is I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to handicap games just like I always have this season. Believe in yourself because sometimes it just doesn't go your way.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep it going here and hopefully get back on our hot streak here on the channel that we've had all season. The first game, Thursday night.
Best
James.
night of the week for us.
I think I'm like 1-5 and you are like 0 for 6 or something on your picks on Thursday night, but you're just like, we got to go back at it. Commanders at Eagles. Eagles are 3.5 point favorites. The over-under set to 48.5. We will be live streaming these. We do live stream a lot of these games that we cover on the channel. So if you want to see me have another meltdown and get mad at James, tune in live and I'll provide commentary. We'll have play-by-play so you can entirely just listen to us and turn down the volume on your stream and just watch us have a meltdown. Pretty fun time on YouTube. James, what do you got on this one?
All right. So got some statistics and reminder for the people at home. I use PFF. Jamie uses NFL Plus.
I use NFL Plus Premium.
Oh, Plus Premium.
NFL Pro. I will pretty much entirely be utilizing their EPA per play on offense, on defense, pass, and rush. So if you hear me say that, that's what that means.
And if you hear me talk about PFF, or any rankings, it's PFF.
Yep.
So there you go. So in this matchup, we've got Washington that has the 3rd best passing offense in the NFL.
I agree.
The Eagles have the 2nd best passing defense. And I went, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Philly, 21st best passing offense. Washington, 28th best passing D. I'm like, okay, a little bit of a gap. Washington, 6th best rush attack. Philly, 10th best rush attack. So they're both good at running the ball.
My metrics have it a little bit elevated, but the EPA per rush also heavily favors rushing quarterbacks. So Go ahead, James.
I think that's something that PFF factors in is they look at purely handoffs, which is what I like about that. So I went deep here, and I originally looked at this game and thought this was an over game. But after looking at some of the statistics, looking at the fact that Washington might be completely done on the passing side, I'm actually taking the under in this game.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a grinded out Thursday game. We should have hit the under last week at halftime.
Yeah.
I should have taken the first half under, but I'm taking the under in this game. And I think you might differ on me.
I think I might, James. So that was actually where I was leaning when I first saw this spread, just going off of vibes. I'm like 48 and a half, these two teams. Feels like an under game. Yeah. I think we're going to get the Commanders got a help in the secondary from a trade. He'll be hopefully full go. We'll see how practice goes for him. We'll see about that. Brian Robinson has been in and out, might be back, might not be back. James' sources are telling him that they're not going to be back.
Negative. They don't need to see my face. I don't know why.
Beautiful face.
I'm going to come in a mask next time.
So, yeah, two of the best rushing teams in the NFL, my metrics have them at first and third. If we get Brian Robinson back, that's a massive upgrade, but Commanders are running the ball well without him. Rushing D, very mid for both teams. Eagles are 9th in EPA per rush on defense. Commanders are 17th in EPA per rush on defense. Commanders played the Ravens, 4th best rushing offense. The total of that game was 53 points. The Eagles, their 2 best rushing offenses that they've faced, the Bucs and the Packers, 9th and 10th in EPA per rush on offense. The totals to those games were 49 and 63. Wow. Eagles offense, red hot. Last 4 games, ready for it? Their offense has scored 34 points, 28 points, 37 points, 28 points. Pretty good. Washington is the 3rd best offense in EPA per play, scoring an average of 29 points per game this season. I'm taking the over. I'm disagreeing. Give me the over 48 and a half, which means
one of us is going to win.
One of us is going to win again.
Unless the NFL creates a new rule that half points are allowed
on Thursday night. That's good news. So
this game is actually going to get canceled. There's going to be a weather.
Don't follow us on that. Don't follow either of us on that. Okay. I'm beating James on Thursday night by 1 game, and that's not saying much. Moving to games that we actually pick well.
Hey.
Raiders at Dolphins. This is a Sunday noon game, I believe. The Dolphins are 7.5 point favorites at home. The over-under set to 44, James.
Yeah. So looking at this game, I wanted to come in here with a ton of notes, but I just looked at it and said one thing, and one thing only really matters here. Both these teams suck.
Yep.
Let's take the Raiders at 7.5.
Okay. I love it, James.
Yeah, it's simple.
Both teams suck. That's been pretty good for you so far this season. I think you are both teams suck. Give me the point with teams. I think you're like 3-0 this season.
Give me crappy teams.
Yeah.
Give me crappy teams.
You love it. You love it. You're Mr.
underperforming teams.
You're Mr. Panthers over here.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, I was kind of leaning in that direction too until I looked into it. Raiders give up a lot of points. Defense only 9th worst though in EPA per play. Turnovers is the big difference there. They are one of the worst turnover differential, last place in turnover differential in the NFL. A little bit of luck involved there, but that's a pretty big sample size to ignore. Okay. Last 5 games for the Raiders on their defense has given up 41 points, 27 points, 20 points to the Rams with no receivers, 32 points, and 34 points. Okay.
That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points every single game, except for the game where they're playing the struggling Rams, who still struggle with their full starting wide receivers sometimes.
Maybe they'll figure it out.
Raiders' worst rushing offense in the league in EPA per play, but they can sort of kind of pass the football. Okay. They're 21st in EPA per pass. So that's the best part of their offense. Okay. The Dolphins match up pretty well for that, for points wise. They can stop the run. They're not as good against the pass. The Dolphins are. Dolphins averaging 16.3 points per game, but Tua is all the way back. The offense is entirely healthy. The over-under's at the 44 points. I mean, get Achane loose, get somebody loose, get a mean pick 6 from the Raiders here. I'm taking the over 44 points, James. So a pivot
Wow.
On that, you have the Raiders at
Raiders?
plus 7.5 on
Absolutely.
the road. Be wearing those black uniforms on the hot sideline, James. It's be interesting to see how that pans out for them. Next game.
Might be hungover from Saturday night.
They might be. Their season is over. Ravens at Steelers, a AFC North matchup. The best of the noon slate for sure. 7-3 versus 7-2. Battle for the AFC North, battle for the AFC Conference. Steelers are getting 3 points at home. The over is at the 48, James.
Yeah. So this one was very interesting to me when I dived into this.
I love this one.
Ravens are the number 1 offense in the NFL according to PFF.
As well.
Steelers are the number 3 defense according to PFF. Which I was a little bit surprised. I was a little bit surprised by that.
I
had that like that Metal Gear Solid. Huh?
Yeah. EPA per play on defense, Steelers not as good, but I'm like, I feel like they're a little bit underrated for that metric, James.
Interesting. Yeah, I was surprised by that one. Also, Steelers have the 15th ranked offense, so they almost exactly mid.
Not bad.
Ravens 10th best defense, which I was pretty excited about.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of things that are interesting about Pittsburgh. You got Mike Tomlin. You know he loves AFC North battles. But you know who loves winning a lot more? The Harbaughs. And they'll do any and everything that they need to win. And so I called up my friend Derek and I said, hey, what do you think? And he said, bet the mortgage, Ravens -3. And that's what we're going to go with.
Okay, well, so you're definitely getting this one wrong, James. Let me tell you why. I mean, I can go over these stats. I think I already gave you most of my take on the stats. Here's all you need to know. Tomlin at home as a dog. 26-3 against the spread. That's a 77% win percentage. Divisional matchup. Both teams are good. Give me Steelers. Give me the point. Steelers +3, James. I love that you're just giving me that softball, tossing it up to me.
That's fine. He's going to be 27-3 next week.
I'm hitting that one out of the park.
27-3. Just mark that down.
Literally have no chance of winning that one.
Take
so
that one down.
Thank you for that one. No agreements yet?
None.
Why? Okay. Anyways.
Why? What do you mean why?
Vikings.
This is more fun when we disagree.
At Titans.
I can tell you where this one's are not agreeing.
Oh, no. Titans are competing for the first overall pick. The Vikings are competing for the first overall seed in the NFC. They're 7-2. The Titans are getting 6 points at home. Over-under set to 39.5.
Yeah. So the Vikings have the 6th best offense in the NFL, according to PFF.
What?
The 6th best offense.
That's wrong. They suck at offense, James. That's the joke.
You can disagree with me all
The
you
Titans?
want.
No, rerun.
No, the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just heard me wrong. No,
Okay.
no, the Titans are like dead last.
I can't wait to watch that.
They're
back.
atrocious.
Keep going.
But we saw last week with the Chargers that the Titans can still put up a couple touchdowns. My boy Calvin Ridley came in clutch a couple times.
Okay.
I like the over here. Over 39.5. I think this Vikings team's going to have the ball probably like 30 possessions this game, and they might just score in all of them. I love this team. I love what the Vikings are going to be putting out against the Tennessee team that I think is rolled over, playing dead like a possum. Give me the over, and just to boot, Calvin Ridley's going to have 2 touchdowns again.
You're not at all concerned about the Vikings not scoring any touchdowns last week? No?
No.
Okay.
It's called a law. It's called a law of averages. Hey, they're going to regress to the mean.
Okay.
Or in this
Over.
case,
That's a lot of field goals, James. 39.5 is a lot of field goals. I'll tell you that much. Okay. So yes, Titans
13
stink.
field goals, whatever.
31st in turnover differential, 30th in point differential. Chargers cover 7.5 for me last week. That's against the Titans, right? If I remember correctly.
Yep.
The Vikings cover for me last week with 0 touchdowns. So that's pretty good. The Vikings 3rd best away in defense in EPA per play. Titans are 12th best defense in EPA per play. Not at home, not at away, just overall. Vikings offense is plummeting, however, which is concerning. They're now 14th in EPA per play, pretty much after Darrisaw went down, their left tackle. Titans are 29th in EPA per play on offense. So they are horrible, just like you said. Titans, we all know Sam Darnold struggles under pressure. Titans can't pressure the quarterback. They're 18th in pressure rate. So basically the same exact thing that we saw last week in the Vikings matchup. Vikings home field, I don't see it as an advantage. I see it as a negative. It's a great place to be if you're, traveling from the Midwest.
Those bachelorette parties come out and they bring the noise.
They bring
what you're talking about.
Oh, for the games. Yeah, they definitely know.
Absolutely.
The bachelorette parties are definitely know this game is happening for sure. Give me Vikings. I'm laying the 6 on the road again.
Wow.
I don't care. These Titans stink. They're not going to be able to score on the Vikings at all. Look for a bounce back from Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. That's all I got to say about that, James.
Wow.
Colts and Jets. Probably my second least amount of notes out of any game so far on the slate. I mean, the Steelers game, I had basically no notes. I'm like, just give me Tomlin and the points at home. This game, pretty similar. The Colts are 4-6. They still feel like they're alive. The Jets are 3-7. They are dead. They stink. Over under set to 43. The Jets are 3.5-point favorites at home.
Yeah, a little breaking news. Anthony Richardson back to starting. I don't know if you saw that.
Is that breaking news?
It happened this morning.
Okay, I missed that. That's breaking news. Yeah. I will believe you on that. I'm not going to check.
When have I been wrong?
You're right.
I don't say breaking news and get it wrong.
You're right.
I'm Adam Schefter when it comes to breaking news.
Probably an upgrade for the Colts.
I think so.
Just the way Flacco's been playing. Go ahead.
I think so. If they can maybe just do a little bit more QB design runs, I think that'd be great. But,
they're going to have to.
What am I? I'm no offensive genius like Brian Daboll. Anyway, Colts 20th best offense. Jets 25th on defense.
Yep.
Jets 16th on offense. Colts 12th on defense.
Yep.
These teams are, basically
Spider-Man meme, James. Spider-Man meme, James. We got a Spider-Man meme game.
And you know what I love when I think the teams are even.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love me some plus money.
Oh yeah.
And these Colts are plus 165.
Ooh.
So I got me a plus money Colts bet. And maybe that, I don't know what that number is now. We should actually probably check it with the Anthony Richardson news because I did grab this before that was live.
So we're looking at.
Let's go to our plenty of big.
I'm seeing
number. Plus 150.
Colts
Okay.
plus 150, and that's not the best number. That's just the DraftKings sportsbook.
Yeah, I would suspect 165 is still out there in that case.
Sure. I'll give it to you. I'll give you 165.
I appreciate that.
Colts plus 3.5 points here. Still, that line hasn't moved. But I think I checked it at the time after that was announced. Anyways, yeah, you said it, James. Spider-Man meme. I literally have it. You're looking at my notes right now. I literally have Spider-Man meme game. Jets home field worth 0 points at this point. Who cares? Like, their team's dead. Give me Colts 3.5 points. I won't bore you with my other 3 lines of notes that I have on this game because that's all you need to know. And that's technically an agreement, James.
Yes, it is.
All right.
I'm sure we're going to agree on the last one.
Moving on to, moving on to Sunday night.
Ooh.
Bengals at Chargers. The Chargers are 1.5 point favorites. The over-under set to 47 points, James.
When is Carrie Underwood going to come on the show? Huh?
When is Carrie Underwood going to come? Probably right after Brian Dable comes after he gets fired. He's going to be on, right? You're gonna.
I can pull some strings to bring Brian on. You might want to be in might want to zoom into that one instead of being in the studio.
Let's get Brian Dable in studio, and I will say the things that I've been saying into this microphone to his face.
I'm gonna give him an axe before that. Just gonna give him a weapon beforehand. See what happens.
Bengals Chargers, James.
Oh man, it's very interesting Sunday night matchup. So digging into this, I was a little shocked at some of these numbers here.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati, 13th offense.
Yeah, they stink.
Like, ooh, really? Chargers 7th best defense. I was like, oh, interesting.
Really good.
Chargers 19th offense, Cincinnati 19th defense. So they match up exactly the same there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, okay, based on these numbers, we got to dive in deeper. We got to look at just pass metrics. We got to look at just runs. Chargers have the 4th best passing offense according to PFF, while Cincinnati has the 27th worst
passing offense or
passing coverage.
Yeah,
which I was shocked at.
I'm not shocked to hear that.
However, they rank the Bengals passing offense as in the top 5. And they also put the Chargers passing defense in the top 5.
Agree with that.
What those metrics tell me is I think these teams are going to pass the ball a lot.
Okay.
And that leads to multiple things. It leads to touchdowns,
Mm-hmm.
but it also leads to picks.
Yep.
And we hope those picks turns into pick sixes because
We
we
hope.
got the over. We got over 47. I
Okay.
want a Sunday night barn burner. I want to end my night with nothing but points.
Yeah.
So I'm taking over 47.
Over 47. I don't mind that at all, James. Definitely get it now because those primetime game overs will push higher once you get closer to the game. So we got it at 47 as we're looking at it. Chargers are a better team in point differential, 6th versus 15th for the Bengals. Harbaugh's awesome. Pat McAfee interview. I don't know if you saw it. He might be a dirty cheater in your mind and a lot of other people's minds. I love Harbaugh. He's hilarious. He's a guy that I am going to be betting on in tough coaching situations. And I think this is a tough coaching situation for him right here.
Can we add coaches to our dynasty league?
There are coaching dynasty, and yeah, I don't know how it works, but they do that.
Give me
Anyways,
Cliff Kingsbury.
Chargers, this is why this is a bad spot for the Chargers. They're sitting pretty. 3-game win streak. They won by 10, 17, and 18. So they're just crushing teams. Now, those 3 wins, Titans, Browns, and Saints. Bengals coming off of a physical game to the Ravens. Okay. Bengals haven't beaten a single good team all season. Best win for the Chargers, pretty similarly. They haven't really beaten anybody except for the Broncos, who are good.
Whoa.
Broncos are good.
Whoa.
Beat them by 7. Okay.
Sean Payton, coach of the year.
They do have Dan Campbell. They do have a good win on their schedule. Chargers play well at home. Their only home loss coming to the Chiefs this season. Bengals stink. Give me the Chargers minus 1.5 points, James.
Wow. No agreement so far.
Nope, we did agree.
General agreement.
We agreed on the Colts.
Rough agreement.
We agreed on the Colts.
Rough agreement.
We agreed on the Colts. Monday night. Texans at Cowboys. Cowboys are getting 7.5 points at home. The over-under set to 42. We will be streaming this one live on the channel. Not very easy to get Cowboys fans to agree to live stream watch this game for whatever reason. Don't know why. Also, very difficult to get Cowboys or Houston fans to watch a football game. Tickets for this primetime game, James, I looked.
Yeah.
They have seats available for $57.
Why don't we go?
Because we're live streaming it.
Well, we could live stream it from the
game.
stadium.
That's a good point.
That would have a lot of action.
That would have a lot of action. Texans fans. Also,
horrible noise quality.
Don't care about their team. The Lions fans took over Houston last week, and Houston's good. So change your cities, Houston. You guys are bad. I mean, all the best Houston fans I know live in Dallas. So maybe do a team swap or something. I don't know.
Shout out Ryan Perry.
Yeah, Ryan Perio, Thomas Gunter. Will both be on the casting couch.
Wow.
Got a power.
Wow.
Got a power.
Can I get on that couch? Is that
no,
open?
you can't. You
Wow.
can join us. You can join us. We have
I've never gotten rejected on a podcast.
0 mics available for that one. 0 mics.
I'll bring my own. I'll just bring a megaphone in the corner.
Nico Collins is back. Dak Prescott out for the season. That's why you're getting this line at where it's at 7.5. James, what do you got on this one?
Oh man, I figured that you were gonna have a lot of notes, so I only put one note on my phone. Excuse me. It was the Detroit flu, and we're taking the Cowboys at plus 7.5. It's back. The Detroit flu is back.
Detroit flu.
It had a little bit of a chillax period.
Yep.
And now there's a new strand.
Big spike.
And it's back up.
Yep. I love it here. So you're taking the Cowboys at 7.5 and Cooper Rush, right? So if you
Hopefully Trey Lance, actually. I hope it's Trey Lance, but yeah.
Oh, jeez. God forbid.
Cooper Rush.
If you guys don't know what the Detroit flu is, it's no longer undefeated because the Titans beat the Patriots a couple of weeks ago after the Detroit game. Now, the Titans and the Lions starters did not play the second half. The game was over halfway through the third quarter. So the big part about the Detroit flu is Detroit shows you how to beat you. And the Cowboys have seen that because since losing to Detroit.
What are the notes from the Detroit game? Just get CJ Stroud to throw an interception.
Yeah.
Is that all the notes that we have?
since losing to Detroit, okay, the Cowboys lost to Niners, lost to Falcons, lost to Eagles. Haven't looked the same ever since, to the Detroit Flu's credit. Okay. Texans, let's be real about the Texans. Let's have an honest, we're kind of getting on the Texans fans for not being like, good supporting fans of this team. But let's be honest, 2-game losing streak. They lost to the Jets. Pause. Horrible, right? And lost to the Lions when Goff throws 5 interceptions. Lose outright at home.
Not the guest.
Ouch. So Texans stink as well. We got to keep that in mind. The only way these Texans scored on offense is when the Lions gave up the ball in their own area with those interceptions, especially early on in the game. And Texans got shut out in the second half. Ooh. After Fairbairn missed the 52-yarder to try and go up 3 there.
That's tough.
Detroit Flu, like I said, is undefeated except for the Titans this year. Look for Dowdle to have a big game. Definitely start him in fantasy. The Detroit Flu is big on the running game. So
right. Deuce Vaughn.
I think every single game after the Detroit Flu, the offense has run for over 100 yards. I think something like that. It's crazy. It's a crazy stat.
I'm grabbing some Deuce Vaughn right now.
Grab some Deuce Vaughn. Grab some Rico Dowdle. It's going to be a good one. Cowboys plus 7.5 at home. Primetime game on Monday night. No one will be there.
We'll be there. Live.
So, James.
We're going to get one of those field level suites and stream from there.
I really wanted our pick of the week to be Steelers at plus 3.
My favorite part of this was you texted me this morning when I think we're going to have 3 agreements. And I was like,
just 2 agreements. We have a Colts and Jets agreement. You have money line. I have Colts at plus 3.5.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, I'll be honest. I kind of like it. I kind of don't. Seems like that gives a lot more variance to
a higher upside
to the game. But if you can think of a reason to bet home 7.5 point underdog, I get it. We're getting another question mark at quarterback with the Cowboys and who they're going to start and how they're going to look. But that Texans Lions game, that was a tough game. Texans got a lot of injuries in that game, a lot of big injuries in that game. So they're not going to be.
Cowboys game wasn't super tough for them.
Healthy whatsoever.
The sun beat down on them, but that was it.
Yeah. Cowboys, like, who cares?
Hey, and this is Monday night, so sun's down. Sun's
down.
Sun's come down at 5:00 in Dallas right now.
We know when the sun is going to be through this. Anyways, Jerry, buy some curtains.
Wear sunglasses. Put a freaking sunglass visor on or something. I don't know why this is hard.
Going back to the lock of the week Monday night. We lost Monday night lock of the week. Or no, it was Sunday night.
Yeah.
So I think we're undefeated on Monday night locks of the week. I don't know if we've bet one, but we're definitely undefeated in it. Definitely not lost one.
Not starting now.
Lock of the week, Cowboys.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush, baby.
How about it?
7.5 points at home against the overrated Texans. I love it, and I love this slate, James. Thank you for joining us here on the Casting Couch live. We post these every single Wednesday, sometimes on Tuesday. Probably won't see a Tuesday one for the rest of the season if I had to guess, but check and see. We'll be live streaming, so make sure you subscribe.
Thanksgiving week will be interesting.
To the channel. Ooh.
Yeah. I think that's our only next big
Thanksgiving games.
Yeah.
We should put together a just for fun Thanksgiving Day parlay.
A feast.
A feast Esta.
Parlay feast.
Because we're going to win so many of them. Yeah, so we'll do that. It won't go on our records. But we'll recommend it. It'll be fun.
On mine because it's winning.
James, anything to tell the audience?
Man, it's getting darker earlier out, and that means we're getting towards fall. We're getting towards the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Do your shopping now. I've seen so many Black Friday deals already. Get your shopping in now.
That is.
Get it done before you forget, because you will forget.
Yep.
Do it now.
Significant others need presents.
Your neighbor.
Get it to them.
Distant relative.
Yeah.
Acquaintance.
And if you're really struggling and you're in the Dallas area, go ahead and get some $57 seats for you and your lady or man.
I think that'd be the opposite of getting you in the mood. You go see you go see Twisters, and you're like, oh, you know, hopefully some of the actors are shirtless. If you go to a Cowboys game, you're not getting laid.
It's not going to be nearly as terrifying as Smile 2 was, James.
It's not getting the motor running.
No. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, share with a friend. See you next time.